Good evening and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Noleen, Abel-Ameh. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana on his re-election for a second term in office. The president also commended the Ghanaians on the successful conclusion of the presidential and parliamentary elections, attesting further that with the right institutions and political leadership, constitutional democracy in the West African sub-region has come to stay. President Buhari appeals to other contestants in the elections to put national interests above personal and partisan considerations and maintain the peace while seeking resolution of grievances through established legal avenues. The president notes that Nigeria and Ghana share close historic cultural ties, adding that he looks forward to working with his Ghanaian counterpart in realizing shared goals that bring peace, security and prosperity to the citizens of both countries in particular and the ECOWAS community in general. The Nigerian leader wishes President Akufo-Addo a successful new tenure, peace and stability in his country, as well as improved bilateral relations. ECOWAS Election Observation Mission in Ghana has congratulated Ghanaians for protecting the country's democratic credentials at the just concluded presidential and parliamentary elections. Head of the mission and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and her team took that message to President Nana Akufo-Addo. Correspondent Musbaud and Wahab reports from Accra.
Beyond electing a new leader and representatives into the parliament, Ghanaians have another regional record to protect: 28 years of unbroken democracy. With the 8th successive election, the country continues to consolidate her democratic rule. Isolated blemishes albeit, the International Election Observation Missions commend voters' turnout, parties' conduct, professionalism of polling officials, and compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols during the electoral processes.
Please come and sit down.
And on this visit to the Jubilee House, ECOWAS Election Observation Mission says Ghana has done well in preserving her democratic credentials.
Now talk to your colleagues so that they can begin to put their processes in place, to respect constitutions, to respect the laws.
The president re-elect says democracy is now a tradition Ghanaians are committed to.
The certification that you have given us, of course, must be something that all Ghanaians must pride themselves on. Fundamentally, the poll itself was made possible by the attitude of our people. And that is what we have to continue to nurture, that attitude and that commitment to democratic engagement is maintained here in Ghana. For my part, whatever it is that I can do to continue to maintain the unity of the nation and to make sure that we go forward into my second mandate as united people.
President Nana Akufo-Addo begins his second term in office at this Jubilee House, January 7, 2021. In Accra, Ghana, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
And back home, Chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum and Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi says state governors cannot borrow money from the pension funds. He made the declaration on Good Morning Nigeria while speaking on the issue of government at the subnational levels. Alika Kwanacharwa has the details.
Pension funds in Nigeria today does not have in its kitty anything close to 17 trillion. They don't even have 10 trillion. So how can you take what is not there?
Speaking on Good Morning Nigeria, Olukayode Fayemi emphasized that governments and the subnationals are doing their best to address the problem of poverty through empowerment programs, but the increasing rate of poverty level in the state and inadequate funds has made it impossible for everyone to benefit. On the issue of the bailout funds, the guests explained that there is need to revisit the terms of payment of the loan by the state government to the federal government in the face of the current economic challenges.
For the better part of my time in office as chair of the Governors Forum, states had adhered to their payments until COVID-19 intervened, unfortunately. It was COVID-19 that led us to collectively, not just governors, the National Economic Council collectively agreed that this payment will be suspended.
There are a number of leakages, but in a situation like what we have now, where people are finding it difficult to even sustain their livelihood and businesses, what tax is collected from profit? Is tax after profit? You don't tax people before profit. So if people are not making profits, where would you generate the tax?
They also advised that there is need to change the country's security architecture through intelligence gatherings in Abuja, Alika, Okwanachi, Arua, NTA News.
And still on politics, the People's Democratic Party says it is yet to take a decision on where the party's 2023 presidential ticket will be zoned to. National chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, disclosed this at a media briefing in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Gathered here are members of the PDP National Working Committee and Board of Trustees. The state of the party in the last 3 years and state of the nation dominated their agenda. Uche Secondus explained that a committee chaired by Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State is already in place to review the party's 2019 outing and as well profile solutions for the way forward.
I believe that whoever that is interested when 2023 will come, maybe including the former president, the chances are that the PDP is a party of all. Everybody will have that opportunity. But in a clear terms, no, we have not taken any decision to give anybody a ticket for now.
Meanwhile, ahead of the Anambra 2021 governorship election, some of the party's stakeholders in the diaspora are calling for the need to give ears to President Buhari's call for them to contribute to the development of the country.
People who need to be in politics need to stop thinking about themselves and think about the community. And if you look at community, then you won't be causing factions. So my question is, I think PDP of today is being more united.
They enjoined Nigerians to embrace dialogue as the only option to dispute resolution. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced the process for the conduct of the 2023 general elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu stated this during a meeting with resident electoral commissioners virtually.
We have exactly 799 days to the next general election, holding on the 18th of February 2023. And will ensure that we work hard to achieve the activities. About 2 weeks ago, I was still speaking to the technical team. We identified 1,508 activities that we must accomplish between now and election day in 2023. Some will be carried out simultaneously, but that is an interim list. I'm sure by the time we finalize, it will be a bit longer, but we are committed to ensuring that we achieve what you need to achieve ahead of the election.
Away from politics, some Nigerian pensioners have resorted to seek the face of God for timely payment of their pension and gratuity. The senior citizens decided on this after various calls on relevant bodies to meet with their needs failed. They are expectant of a miracle that will make them smile before end of the year. Emmanuel Aimero reports.
By Section 173, subsection 3 and Section 210, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, pension shall be reviewed every 5 years or whenever workers' wages are reviewed, whichever comes earlier. Until now, members of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners say they are still waiting for government, particularly at the state level, to implement this provision.
As far as the state governments are concerned, state governments still remain nonchalant, very indifferent.
Concerning recent plan to borrow about 17 trillion naira from contributory pension fund for certain projects, the senior citizens say safety of the fund is what is paramount in the Constitution.
Many of these state governments have not keyed into the contributory pension. We don't want a situation when these people retire, then we say there's no money to pay them. We will make every state of the federation ungovernable the moment we hear they borrow the money.
Although the theme for the 2020 National Pension Day is making life better and worth living for pensioners, retirees noted that what would make their life better is the payment of pension and gratuity as at when due. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has called on African writers to sustain telling the African story in the best African tradition format. The minister made the call when he granted audience to the Secretary General of the Pan-African Writers Association, Dr. Wale Okediron, in Abuja. Anthony Forson completes the story.
African writers as historians who are beacons of their rules. Lai Mohammed said they draw a lot of attention to the many challenges that exist after colonization. Therefore, the younger generation must be encouraged to be in the vanguard through modern-day technology.
Revive that golden age of African writers. That age where African writers actually, in the pre-decolonization area, where they were as effective, where they collaborated also with our politicians.
Lai Mohammed, while congratulating Dr. Okediro over his appointment, said power as an umbrella body of writers on the continent and in the diaspora, whose mission is to strengthen the cultural bonds between Africans, given their diverse and rich cultural, political and economic heritage. The association must brace up to curtail Western influence and cross-cultural encroachment.
How do we instill in our young ones pride in their culture, pride in their tradition? How do we harness, how do we use technology to promote our rich traditions and culture?
On his part, Dr. Wale Okediron, who said literature is the testimony of a people's creativity as well as unifying factor and cultural identity, appealed to the minister to facilitate a constant interface between the association and the federal government, specifying that power is mandated by the AU to be supported by all African countries.
The association has grown in bounds and leaps to the extent that it has now been given a diplomatic status in Ghana and by extension in many African countries.
As a community of writers with a Pan-African vision, the Secretary General said the association is ready to partner with government in its onerous task of nation building and creative arts as well as cultural renaissance in Nigeria and on the continent. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Adiola in Lagos has the next sets of reports. Good evening, Adiola.
Good evening, Noleen. Good to see you. The persistent gridlock at the Apapa trade corridor will soon become history as maritime regulators are embracing technology to solve inherent challenges. And as a starting point, shipping companies and terminal operators must adopt electronic call-up system latest by first quarter of 2021. Amaka Owo reports.
The roads along the Tinkan-Apapa corridor have received government's attention. However, truck and tanker drivers are taking advantage of the portions yet to be constructed to compound the gridlock usually experienced in the axis. These are some of the 2,000 Lagosians who boycott long hours caused by congestion along Apapa axis on daily basis.
I don't use the road as often as I used to in the past. If this is not created, you can see the rate of congestion this will have even caused to the road network.
Shipping companies are not exempted from the pathetic experiences along the road.
Some days we've only been able to get 20 containers out the gate. The problem here is the road. If you solve the problem of the road, the ports will sort themselves out.
The regulatory agencies continue to stress the need to digitize ports operations as a way of reducing congestion and promoting efficiency.
We have seen a shipping company that was 19% 3 months ago, but because of our insistence, it's now almost 100%. We are pushing the port operators. We are pushing even the government agencies. We are pushing customs, okay, because it takes two to tango. The banks must be also part of this. So the whole ecosystem of the port must be automated so that we have a digital port, we have a contactless port.
If adequately effected, the use of electronic call-up system will facilitate trade and cargo evacuation along the corridor. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And now to managing disaster. As part of measures to curb various challenges of disasters in Nigeria and encourage individual participation in disaster management, the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA Southwest Zone has commenced training for 74 volunteers corps selected from 3 communities in Lagos State. Diana Ajala reports that the training focused primarily on management of grassroots disasters.
Over the years, occurrence of various disasters such as fire outbreak, building collapse, accidents, among others, have continued to pose serious threats to lives and property in Nigeria. The volunteers training by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is therefore aimed at engaging participants on the relevant knowledge of first aid services during disasters.
Training like this enhance your experience of handling disasters and also handling casualties.
In case of accidents, breathing emergency comes first, followed by bleeding emergencies, then followed by burns and scarred and broken bones.
Acting Zonal Coordinator, Southwest Zonal Command Ibrahim Fariloye, stated that the essence of the program is to train more hands in grassroots emergency management to mitigate disasters, especially within the communities.
Instead of waiting for disaster to occur, it's more profitable and it's more life-saving to prevent it from occurring. And with the paradigm shift, disaster management should start from the community level.
The participants who took part in the training were drawn from Alimosho, Mushi and Victoria Island axis of Lagos State. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Lagos, but we'll take our first commercial break, and when we return, the Barbary in Port Harcourt will take the next set of reports.
A scorecard like no other. Government has put in place measures and initiatives principally targeted at youths, women, and the most vulnerable groups in our society. These included broad plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years, the creation of 75 billion naira National Youth Investment Fund to provide opportunities for the youths, and the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survivor Fund, through which government is A. Paying 3-month salaries of the staff of 100,000 micro, small and medium enterprises. B. Paying for the registration of 250,000 businesses at the Corporate Affairs Commission. C. Giving a grant of 30,000 naira to 100,000 artisans and guaranteeing market for the product of traders. These are in addition to many other initiatives such as farmer money, trader money, market money, N-Power, N-Tech, and N-Agro. These and more in spite of a recession and a global pandemic.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multi-purpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710 Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. The Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
Do you know that 35% of every girl, child, and women are raped on a daily basis? Some are killed in the process. Some take their lives in shame. Others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prize gem they are. Say no to rape.
Newcastle United had their game called off last week. Will they be able to bounce back with a win when they welcome West Bromwich Albion to St James's Park? Find out this Saturday when Newcastle United hosts West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Papa Ijebu, Lipton Tea, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Back and welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has advocated for investment in efficient transport infrastructure as a panacea to drive the nation's socio-economic development. The governor made the submission at the 26th meeting of the National Council on Works in Port Harcourt. Ogedi reports.
The need for the nation to continue to develop its road infrastructure to promote trade and facilitate the movement of goods and services for the spread of economic opportunities across the country was stressed. Governor Wike says with the current road network of the country put at 31,000 kilometers, yet inadequate to drive economic growth at the rate the nation desires, more needs to be done.
The East-West Road among the critical infrastructure projects being funded from the coffers of the nation's sovereign wealth fund to guarantee its completion by 2021 has been taunted by the Minister of the Niger Delta.
Working with the various state governors, we were able to resume work in 26 states
in May. And this was the way to start redistributing wealth again, because that's what infrastructure really does. And FEMA, our maintenance agency, was also able to resume work in 92 different locations in 24 states. These were strategic responses to get the economy back on track.
Chairman Senate Committee on Work, Senator Adamu Alero, described the theme of the meeting as apt and appreciated the federal government for its commitment to improving road infrastructure across the country. Director General, Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabeze, says 30% of the annual Federation budget goes to road infrastructure, but still not enough. He maintained that good road network increases agricultural productivity, strengthens local economy, promotes safe commuting, and reduction in road crashes and attendant fatalities. In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwere, NTA News.
The alleged murder of Jerry Jigawa, Benjamin Chima, and other illegalities perpetrated by the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad were among cases heard at the 11th day of sitting of Judicial Panel of Inquiry in Port Harcourt. Ijamong Weke reports.
The Rivers State Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which is on a fact-finding mission into police illegalities and right abuses of citizens, on its 11th day of sitting, heard multiple cases of alleged arrest, detention, and murder. Among the cases was the alleged murder of 45-year-old Jerry Jigawa in September 2016 by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The petitioner, 75-year-old Bob Wallot Jigawa, whose death of his son left him partially paralyzed, is demanding for in-depth investigation into the case to pave the way for the release of his son's remains for burial.
He went on an assignment in Burukiri and was coming with one or two friends. As they were coming, he said he saw people running for life. And at a point, because he did not commit any offense, he did not run. He was arrested. Among those boys arrested, they took him to SARS station and asked him to pay a ransom of 100,000 naira for his release.
The alleged cases of police brutality and murder brought by Ugochukwu Ekeze and Chima Chukwu were adjourned till December 22nd in Port Harcourt. Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
We are done from here. Is back to Noleen for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Dibabari. The need for society to embrace counseling as one aspect of national development has been brought to the fore. This was during a stakeholders meeting on national counseling strategy organized for counselors by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster and Management and Social Development in Abuja. Ruth Agwele completes the story.
Rafatu is a mother and a teacher. But for her to make impact in the lives of her children and her students, she needs to understand the rudiments of being a professional counselor.
It has transformed me right from my home. I can interact with my children. They have discovered that they have different characteristics. As a mother, I gave birth to them, but with my knowledge, I address their issues. I address them properly in accordance to their, threat, their characteristics, and so on. And then even in my classroom, I discover I have so many different characters in the class. That has also helped me.
This stakeholders meeting on national counseling strategy, organized by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, is aimed to help counselors like Rafatu do better.
Counselors need to prospect for human talent and offer maximum managerial services in helping channel the educational and vocational resources of youth into appropriate track.
Those in the correctional centers, those that have family cases, family issues, need counseling on how to get about what has happened to them and how to continue to live.
These stakeholders attributed the need to promote counseling and psychosocial support for victims of human trafficking, discharged juvenile offenders, returning migrants and drug addicts to enable the counselee deal efficiently with the reality of their environment. Beyond the discourse, it is expected that, with improved capacity of these participants, they will make more impact in the lives of others for a better society. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Power has reassured Nigerians of the commitment by National Assembly to monitor federal government's projects and programs geared towards development, especially in the rural communities. This was during the screening of 8 presidential nominees as board members of the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission. John Yakuk reports.
The Senate Committee on Power paid attention to the biodata of the nominees who are to manage ecological issues due to operations of dams and other hydroelectric power activities in the power-producing areas. Based on their track records, some were asked to take a bow and go. It was not so in the case of Isiaku Ozi Salami from Kogi State and his Kwara State counterpart, Tawhid Toyi, following a petition alleging that both nominees are not from the communities where the hydroelectric power dams are located. This, they say, contradicts Section 3(1)(b) of the Hyperdeck Act.
What the Act envisaged is that the persons to be appointed must be people who are from the affected communities. And you say that you are not exactly from the communities that are immediately impacted.
I recall that Osaba Dam, which is in Adabi local government where I come from, is a river in that sense.
The intent of the bill here is looking at dams that are producing power. If we have to start saying that anywhere there is dam, I bet you all the 36 states or the federation will be members of this commission.
With a clearance letter from the Oba of Jeba, endorsed by lawmakers and other prominent persons from the area, the claim by the petition against the Kwara State nominee was overruled.
The petition against the nominee from Kwara is hereby dismissed as precedent by the commission.
The Senate committee urges the nominees to bring their wealth of experience to bear on the achievements and objectives of the commission when confirmed. It says its reports will be presented at plenary for further legislative action. John Yaku, NTA News.
Let's talk health now. Healthcare professionals rely on patients' history to manage their conditions. Hence, accurate data and health records cannot be compromised for national planning and growth. This formed the crux of discussions when the Minister of Health for State, Olorinimbe Mamora, visited the Health Records Officers Registration Board of Nigeria in Abuja. Oluseyi Adiabo has details.
Experts describe data collection and processing in Nigeria's primary health care level as relatively effective, but not so when it comes to the tertiary and secondary levels of health care delivery. Health Records Officers Registration Board of Nigeria trains and regulates the country's health information management professionals who in turn manage patients' health service records and hospital information systems in health facilities nationwide. As the board plays host to the Minister of State for Health, a conducive workspace and computerized operations are tabled as urgent needs.
I can perceive that unity of purpose to working together despite the not too conducive environment, and so the issue of accommodation is one of the things that we need to look at, and so far I've been impressed with what I've seen on ground, and I know that given all the support and the wherewithal, they will do better than what they are doing right now.
And these data were there. The most important thing is to have a coordinating point, like a data bank, that these people will be effectively utilized. Once we are utilized, we'll be able to collect this data. But too much emphasis on development partners who only look at the primary data and then go because there's fund for it. Yes, we don't need additional fund to collect data.
We don't need it because the people are already on ground, employed by government and receiving salary. So all you need to do is to engage them.
The minister charged the health data collectors to consider data integrity as sacrosanct for health care delivery. In Abuja, Olusheye Diagbo, NTA News.
Let's join Amina in Kaduna for more reports, including development in tackling security challenges. You're on, Amina.
Noleen, welcome to Kaduna. Retired Justice David Yom has formally opened public hearing into alleged police brutality in Kaduna. This is in line with the directive of the Federal Executive Council for the establishment of state-based judicial panel of inquiry to receive and investigate cases of alleged police brutality across the country. Abel-Ameh Mohammed reports.
Hassan Usman Katsina How, an administrative hub met to stand the test of time by men of integrity who have written their names in gold across the pages of history. Now the House has flung open its gate for the members of the public to lodge petitions against police brutality. And retired Justice David Yom has been chosen to lead other members of the panel of inquiry to do justice to the mandate before them. He said the panel has resolved to receive written sworn submissions in 3 zones across Kaduna State with the secretaries in 23 local government areas of the state.
This panel will be free and it will do everything in its possible best to assist those that feel they need justice. We are not going to deny anybody. We will give every person a hearing.
By the 5th of January 2021 at exactly 10 a.m., retired Justice David S. Yom will listen to so many petitions in this room. And it is expected that so many of those who have any kind of petition against police brutality will have an opportunity here to present their case. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
Nigeria is taking up the challenge of joining the global community in the invention and use of unmanned air vehicle, UAV, to accomplish various kinds of missions, including security. This is buttressed by the performance of young Nigerians in a UAV competition put together by the Defense Research and Development Bureau. Abel-Ameh Mohammed again reports.
Precisely in the year 1903, the Wright brothers invented and successfully flew an aeroplane. That success definitely came as a result of trial and error. An array of young Nigerians have been handed out a platform to show what they got in the invention and deployment of unmanned aerial vehicle. Even discoveries were made.
Well, now we have seen that we can actually do what we call a vehicle launch.
It's going to fly as a stealth and it's going to fly as a fixed-wing helicopter.
Mecca and Habib from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, came with an unmanned aerial vehicle that flies more than 3 hours non-stop, with the provision for surveillance and combat.
We can also add additional battery capacity that can take us to about 3 hours.
We can use it for both civilian and military purposes.
There were handsome rewards for those who came tops.
Congratulations.
Those who peddled the initiative say it goes beyond that, but a move to make Nigeria self-sufficient in the invention and utilization of UAV.
This is also an indication of our commitment towards self-reliance by producing high-end specialized equipment, which could be projected further on a global scale.
You will be surprised to hear that Nigerians are exporting UAV technology to other nations.
With this, there appears to be a very bright future for all of us.
Looking into the eyes of the array of contestants, it's glaring that Nigeria has stepped on the path to success as far as the invention and deployment of UAV and robotics are concerned. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
And Nationwide continues with Kemi in Ibadan Network Center after this break.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria, pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Newcastle United had their game called off last week. Will they be able to bounce back with a win when they welcome West Bromwich Albion to St James's Park? Find out this Saturday when Newcastle United hosts West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank, Papa Ijebu, Lipton Tea, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Welcome to Ibadan. As efforts to explore agriculture for economic diversification and healthy environment continue, key players have emphasized the need for farmers to embrace precision agriculture for better food productivity and health. Correspondent Kemi Oshin reports that this was at the first Precision Agriculture Conference held at the Institute for Agricultural Research and Training, Ibadan.
Research indicates that about 130 million people may be at risk of suffering acute hunger by the end of 2020. Experts have therefore observed that achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 2 of zero hunger by 2030 is likely to be a mirage, especially in sub-Saharan Africa due to climate change and inability of farmers to adopt best management practices.
We are talking about agriculture, using it as a means for our GDP, then we need to bring in innovations into it.
We can actually talk about how agriculture can become one of the lifestyle of our economy, which our forefathers used to do, but this time around in a digital environment.
National agricultural research systems, academia, farmers and other stakeholders have agreed that the complex agricultural challenges can only be tackled through deliberate partnership to domesticate precision agriculture.
All our farmers need basically is the knowledge to actually do all of this right.
Event tagged Precision Agriculture in Action for Africa, held at IART and 14 other institutions across Africa, is expected to result in policies to benefit the agricultural value chain and improve nutrition and livelihoods of Africans in Ibadan. Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
Media experts and stakeholders have charged practicing journalists to show patriotism in their reportage for the desired development of the Nigerian nation to become a reality. This came up at a lecture organized by journalists working with the National Orientation Agency in Kwara State. Kendi Omolosho reports.
In his paper titled Role of Journalism in Nation Building, Stephen Oni, a former NUJ state chairman, highlighted roles of journalists to include educating, informing, and entertaining the people. By this, the roles of journalists in nation building, especially setting agenda and shaping developmental processes, should be taken more seriously by media practitioners. Exposure of corrupt practices through investigative journalism in its submission should be given priority for the nation to develop.
Journalists ought to know and be conscious of the great responsibility bestowed upon them, that there is no room for any embellishments.
Director National Orientation Agency, Kwara State, Shegun Adeyemi, pointed out that the press week was an avenue for cross-fertilization of ideas among journalists in the state. The need for change by all citizens in a submission cannot be overemphasized in order for the country to develop. Kendi Omolosho, NTA News.
Noleen, we are done from Ibadan.
Thank you so much, Kemi. There is a saying that experience is the best teacher. Coming from the scarcity and high cost of some commodities like onions this season nationwide, Jigawa state government is taking proactive steps to boost tomatoes production in the state. Ibrahim Sani reports that more than 600 farmers have been selected to benefit under the initiative.
The agrarian Jigawa state is also fertile for the cultivation of thousands of tons of tomatoes all year round. But factors such as conservative approach by the farmers, pest infection, and lack of enough input support hinder activities of the farmers to achieve maximum yields. This necessitated the launching of a special tomatoes farming support program by Jigawa state government and relevant stakeholders to boost its production. Under the pest-first launch in Kazore Emirate, over 600 farmers have been empowered with seedlings, fertilizer, and training to pay back with their farm produce for processing.
What I want them is that everything lies in their hands. We want them to be trustworthy, to be honest, to be sincere, and to be committed to this project.
We are able to prove that your soil here in Jigawa State can support tomato. Even your own local variety, you can get 30 tons per hectare.
Benefiting farmers express appreciation for the gesture, promising to make Jigawa the hub of tomatoes production. From Duse, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
Nigeria's diverse culture, if properly harnessed and deployed, could enhance socio-economic development of the country. This point was highlighted at a conference on culture, zonal intervention projects and national development organized by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, NICO, held in Akure, Ondo State. Olubukola Aduo has details.
The essence of the two-day conference is to awaken the consciousness of Nigerians on the need to revive the country's cultural heritage, which many say is fast being eroded due to external influences. It is also to educate residents of Ondo State on how to benefit from the various zonal intervention projects, which is the federal government strategy at promoting equitable distribution of development projects, especially at the grassroots.
Zonal intervention funds, zonal projects, through the various communities, you now find that we can have national development.
Stakeholders believe that with proper orientation of citizens, especially youths, on ethics and values, the rate of crime will reduce drastically.
A lot of our people have lost interest in our mother tongue. So if really we are serious about orientation, that is where we should start from.
Our youths, especially, imbibe the foreign cultures, and it has been downplaying our own culture to the extent that when you listen to indigenous music, they look at you as if you are archaic.
Nigeria before, people were hardworking. People were not looking for money without work. But now what we have today is people look for money without work. We should go back to what we were before.
There was a technical session that featured topics which included understanding culture as the bedrock of national development and addressing infrastructure deficits through zonal intervention projects. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
16 days of activism to end gender-based violence has ended, with the Minister of Women Affairs calling on Nigerian men to be more accommodating of the women folk to fast-track the nation's development. The minister was speaking at a rally tagged "Work in Her Shoes" to further draw attention to the scourge of gender-based violence. Victor Azu reports.
It's been 16 days of activism across the globe against gender-based violence, and the Nigerian civil society has been relentless in replicating the advocacy. This rally, organized by the Proactive Gender Initiatives in conjunction with the Nigeria Union of Journalists FCT chapter, with the theme "Walk in Her Shoes," is to round off the campaign. For the council chairman, words are not enough. He literally walks in her shoes to drive home the point.
The road may be long, the task may be demanding, but be assured that there are people cheering you on.
Come and walk in our shoes. We wear high heels, we bound down, we conceive babies. We make the home beautiful, we entertain you.
The Minister of Women Affairs wants the 16-day campaign to birth a new thinking devoid of every form of violence.
Now the last day of 16 days activism, which you have all been part of it, walking around the clock, intensifying awareness. I appreciate you all.
The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is an annual international campaign that kicks off on 25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and runs until 10th of December, which is the Human Rights Day. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
A civil society organization, CISLAC, is advocating the need for all Nigerians to join the anti-corruption fight. The advocacy is in line with the theme of 2020 celebration, which is fighting money laundering in the COVID-19 era, challenges and opportunities. Omenka Amarachiku completes the story.
COVID-19 pandemic no doubt impacted negatively on global economy. This socio-economic analysts say could spark of corruption in various economic facets as individuals, groups, even countries are seeking ways to meet their demands. But for CISLAC and partners, attention should be on opportunities provided by COVID-19 pandemic to advance ideas and innovations for development.
It is our wish that our discussion and contribution to this timely topic will help us appreciate the dynamics of fraud and how it tests on every given opportunity to get us better prepared with proactive strategy henceforth.
Corruption is a human problem created by us as Nigerians. Therefore, we have a duty to do whatever it takes to battle corruption so that at least we can wrestle it down.
For now, almost every child has a dream of becoming something in Nigeria. And he doesn't want to follow the normal way because he has seen what others do. So it is assumed it is the norm. As far as he is concerned, he is in a hurry.
These groups identified corruption as endemic and urged citizens to take personal responsibilities to join in the fight, especially to ensure that graft-taking, money laundering and other forms of financial crimes are eradicated in the post-COVID-19 era. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachiku, NTA News.
And next is Sports Update with Bade Adele.